Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Quiltville and the basement sewing studio of me, Bonnie Hunter. I'm so happy that you're here tonight. We've got a thunderstorm raging outside, and it's gotten a little bit rumbly, a little bit lightningy. So far, it seems to be moving off. If it moves back in, we may need to make a short exit on Quilt-Cam. In fact, if the power goes out, we'll make a very short exit on Quilt-Cam. But I think we're okay. I think the worst of it is by. Although I've got this little girl, come here, Sadie, hiding under the machine right next to me. Come here, baby. Come see me. Come say hi to everybody. Can you jump up here? Come here. Come up and say hi. Come say hi to everybody. This is Sadie. She does not like thunderstorms at all, so she gets as close to me as she can, and she was basically laying on the treadle, the treadle machine. It's going to be all right. Or you're just shaking. It's going to be okay. We're going to sew, and it's going to be all right. So you just stay right by Mom, okay? She's just a sweetheart of a dog. She does not like gunshots, fireworks, thunderstorms, and definitely not water. She doesn't like water. So we were up in Alaska a week ago, and I guess we got home just over a week ago. We got this text message. Sadie rolled in cow poo. I had to give her a bath. Well, Sadie hates baths, and she's never rolled in stinky stuff before. This was the first time. So she's picking up some new habits. Oh, honey, you're just so shaky. So I'm working on the last two seams, the very last two seams of our Lozenges Leader Ender project. So I've got this one to sew here, and then there's one more, just one half row that's kind of twisting itself around down here. And this whole thing will be together, which means I can get it loaded in the machine and get it quilted and call it a finish. Instead of a Leader Ender project anymore, it will be a finish, and I can take a picture of the finished quilt and tidy up the pattern that's on the website, so it's not a Leader Ender challenge project anymore. It's a finished free quilt pattern. These lozenges came from 3.5-inch strips from my scrap user system. I pulled all of the ones that were not moving. You know, my big deal is move the fabric, move the fabric. We're not saving it for, oh, I don't know, the zombie apocalypse, and it's not getting any better the longer it lays there. So if you have fabric that's not moving, instead of leaving it aside and going for something that you do want, find a project that will use up those things that are kind of laying stagnant. By themselves, I didn't like any of these fabrics, but together, I love this project. I love this quilt. I love it for all of the different voices and all the different time periods in my life as a quilter that are in each piece. I'm sewing today on a 1960s, maybe late 50s, early 60s, somewhere in there. I've been sewing on this since we started putting this top together. It's a white machine, and I just love the turquoise color. Just can't beat that turquoise aqua. It's such a classic color for the time period. It's a straight stitch only machine, which gives me the control that I like, and I don't have stuff. My foot pedal's backwards. I vacuumed and hit the foot pedal. I don't have a big hole for zigzag that would have those pieces getting sucked down the needle hole, and I really like that. I like to do my patchwork on a straight stitch only machine for the Nero feed dogs. And we're just going to get started here. If you are reading this on the blog or watching us on the blog, you may have seen the photo where I've got these all pinned, and I just pinned point to point to point to point so that I can quickly sew this seam. And I tend to work pin to pin. Anything that's in between those pins, I need to adjust and ease. I am matching some seams here in between so that they will nest and lay flat. I just sewed over a piece of Millennium Y2K fabric. That makes me happy. Okay, so 2 long seams and we'll be done, hopefully tonight. It takes me about 15 minutes just to pin one length, so there's a lot of pinning in here. If this is your first time with Quilt-Cam, I want to welcome you. I do answer emails and questions. If you are on the blog, leave a comment in the comment section where this post is embedded at quiltville.blogspot.com. If you're on Windows, YouTube, where we are running live, you can leave a comment there and it will show up in my email and I'll be able to answer it there. Or you can simply email me at quiltville@gmail.com. That shows up in my email as well, and everything is answered from the phone because you're quite a ways away over there. So we want to know what you're working on tonight, what's going on in your world, what you have to share. What's the UFO that's closest to being done? I love that when I can just crank something out because it is almost done. And I did that this weekend. I thought that I was getting done and put binding on a quilt, only I had left one of the binding strips here at the house. And so I was, one strip short of a binding, and had to set that aside and start something else. But my favorite project to work on is the one that's closest to being done. That's a quick feel good. So I am working just pin to pin and nesting some seams as I go along. Reach that pin, pull it. I know you really can't see what I'm doing here, but I'm glad you're along for the ride. So we had our drawing yesterday. There are 3 lucky quilters in Europe, 2 in the UK, 1 in Sweden, who now have a pair of tickets each to go to the Festival of Quilts in Birmingham. I'm so excited that the Festival of Quilts asked me to run a little giveaway with some tickets for our readers. They have a wonderful show, and that'll be coming up in August. Our next giveaway, well, I can't tell you what it is, but I'm flying to Jamestown, New York and Erie, Pennsylvania on Friday. So you'll want to be watching the blog early Friday morning because I have something that's going to be fun to give away. And we get to this stopping spot right here. Okay. Oh yeah. It's rumbling out there. I doubt you can hear it, but outside the window. But we've got thunder rolling, and that's why Sadie is just, well, she's just shaking to beat the band here. I heard some emails come in. Let's check in here with you. Mary says, today was my Sewing with Friends Day, and I'm looking forward to more sew time tonight with Quilt-Cam. I'm working on Texas tumbleweeds, the project I started while attending your workshop in San Antonio. Well, Mary, I'm excited that you're still working on it. Send me a picture if you can. I'd love to see how it's going, and please say hello to your ladies for me. This one is from Home Ec with Mel, who says, not working on anything to share tonight, but watching you sew. Gave back the 301 after I showed sister-in-law her machine on Quilt-Cam. Have block of the month to finish up by Saturday, and hubby is cutting for a project for our new home, A3 treadle. So that's fun. The share the loves. We love on the vintage machines, and then we pass them on to somebody who loves them. I was talking to a friend who has machines, and she sells them from time to time. And one thing that she said was, you know, I said, isn't it hard to part with these? I'm sorry, I have a dry tickle. She said, isn't it hard to part with these machines? Your favorite one? She says, not when you see the person who's acquiring the machine bond with it and be so excited. It's like adopting out a beloved puppy. You know it's going to a good home. You know it's going to give many happy hours of service to whoever's buying it. So if the right buyer, the right machine, it's not so hard to let them go. So I'm thinking on my fleet of machines. Which ones am I ready to part with? I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. But the right person, we can do it. Okay, so we've also got here, C&J Cartwright says, hello from Australia. So good morning, Australia. She says, this is the first time watching you live. Hope all is well your way. It's 11 a.m. here in my part of Australia. So they're just starting their day. They're having their 11s at 11 a.m. And I suppose days are getting chillier and colder and more autumn-like in Australia as we go into our summer here. Glad to have you with us tonight. Ted and Deanna says, watching along tonight with you, sewing hexies and relaxing. Tomorrow will be packing day as I am headed out for a quilt retreat on Thursday with 10 other ladies for 4 days. I have done the retreat in the fall and I am treating myself to the spring retreat. Hoping you would give a shout out to my quilting buddy Louise. It's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Louise, wherever you are. We will be getting together later in the summer with a couple other girls to celebrate all our birthdays in one weekend. That sounds fun. A girlfriend's birthday weekend sounds like a lot of fun. She says, love listening to you as I stitch along. You're a great motivator. And she's got a picture here of her paper piecing English paper piecing hexie diamonds coming together there. So, you know, when it doesn't look like much, when you start to count all those pieces, you realize how much goes into that. And that's a lot of work. And I love to see how that is coming together. Beautiful job. Beautiful. Janet says, hello again from English Quilter. You like being up in the middle of the night and you're going to pay for it tomorrow. She says, watching you live from bed because it's 5 hours later in England than it is here. So that puts it at what, 2 a.m. You're a crazy girl. She says, now look what you made me do. I thought I'd just have a little look on eBay at vintage Singer machines and ended up with a winning bid on an old hand wheel machine. So old hand crank for 20 quid that I'll have to drive an hour and a half there and back to collect. I don't have space to set it up where I can use it, but it looked so decorative, even the box. It will have pride of place in my dining room next to all my pretty china. I'll send a picture when I get it. Yes, I do want to see it. I want to see what you've acquired. If I can enjoy yours, then maybe I don't have to acquire any. I'm sorry, my eyes are watering. I put some steroid drops in just before Quilt-Cam. Okay. She says, brings back memories of sewing lessons at school. I always went for the hand machines because the electric ones would run away from me. I was hopeless at sewing in those days, and the teachers only helped the ones that had an aptitude and would make them look good. If they could see me now, they'd be so proud. I'm glad to hear that your publishing issues are resolved, and I'm thinking positive thoughts that your eye problems will turn out to be not so serious too. And that's from Janet in Bushy, Hertfordshire, England, who needs to go back to bed, girl. Go back to bed. That's what the archives are for. I don't know if I'd be getting up at 2 a.m. for anything. You know, I can't remember the last time I stayed up for midnight for New Year's Eve. I think I did that, you know, teenagerhood, we'd stay up till midnight. But after getting married, I think we stayed up, after being married, we stayed up for 1 midnight. And then after that, it's like, okay, the novelty of that is off. I value my sleep much more than staying up past 2 a.m. That said, this silly girl, you know, when things are really busy and crazy and you're trying to do things like, you know, I have to purchase like 3 different plane tickets a month because I may be visiting 3 different areas within the country within that month. And you do this one and you do this one and you do this one and you get kind of brain numb and you're looking at all of these schedules and trying to pick the best time. I try really hard not to have guilds have to have me at the airport for my return flight home at 6 o'clock in the morning, because nobody should have to get me to the airport by 4:30 for the 6 a.m. flight. So I took one that 11. Oh, look, 11 gets in at 9:30. Not a problem, not a problem. It's 11:19 p.m., not 11:19 a.m., which means it's a nighttime flight. And I just found this like a month after I purchased these tickets. So it's too late to change it, not without paying a whole bunch of money. So I've got an extra day in Sacramento. So I'm renting a car. And I think this was a bad thing turned good thing, because it really, if it was going to be bad, it couldn't be better. I get to go meet the folks at C&T Publishing who are publishing my next book. We've just started working on it. We've got new dates. I've got the turn-in dates for photography. I've got the manuscript turn-in dates. I'm meeting people. We're getting stuff going. And I actually get to physically go there and see the place. I never got to step foot for the facility for Kansas City Star when I was writing for them. Never got to go there to the facility. So this is very cool. There will be lunch. They will wine and dine me, just as long as I get the rental car back to the airport and leave for that 11:19 flight. It's not that far. It's like an hour-and-a-half drive or so out of Sacramento. So that's a bad thing turned good. I think it really, really is going to work out for the best this way all the way around. I'm excited. See, I'm not even halfway done with this seam yet. It's a long one. Just get to the pin and pull it and align the next seam. Are you doing okay? The storm's moved away. Are you doing okay down there? She is right underneath the treadle machine, half on the foot pedal. Sadie, that can't be comfy. Yeah, I can't hear anything outside now. I think it's done. We so need the rain, so I'm not complaining. I love a good summer rain. Okay. Good stopping spot. We've only got this much left to go on that seam. Let's check in. Helen Van Loon says, books at the Jamestown workshop. Will you have all of your books at the workshop this weekend? Yes, I will. I promised a friend that I would pick up the first 4 if you do. Yep, I will. She says, I'm working on kitting Sister's Choice blocks for the workshop on Sunday. Another friend and I are driving from Ontario, Canada to attend a lecture and do the workshop. Oh, wonderful. So that's Helen in Forest, Ontario. Yes, Helen, I'm looking forward to meeting you. We'll be there. I've got all the books already shipped ahead. They went by Pony Express thanks to some friends from Delaware, Carrie and Marty, who took them up to Carrie's mother, Anne, who's hanging on to all the stuff and all the other class supplies. I got a notice that the box arrived today. So that's all the kind of thing that goes on behind the scenes, and they are all ready for you. So yes, they will be there. No problem there. Kristen says, Quilt-Cam. Finally catching Quilt-Cam live. I recently finished making a twin size of your Simply Strippy quilt. Wonderful. For my son, for when he graduates to a big boy bed, and thought you might like to see it. The excited recipient is in the background of the picture. Tonight while watching, I'm working on sewing down the binding on a baby quilt, Science Fair by Jaber Quilts, for a baby shower this weekend. Both were sewn and quilted on my Singer 201. I've been borrowing from my mother, lovely machine, and this is Kristen from Anaheim, so she's got a couple of photos to show. Oh, what a sweet guy. So here he is. Can you see him in the background with his Simply Strippy quilt? This is a quilt that I designed for Guild Workshops. See, I've had this blog for 10 years now, so this is over 10 years ago. It has to be 12 or 13 years ago when I first moved to Columbia, South Carolina. We did these quilts as a guild thing. So I know it looks a lot like the Jelly Roll Race, but the strips are larger. It's done with 3.5-inch strips, and it's just random strips, not a matched fabric line. But you can choose colors or do color families or do any other. So that pattern for that one, the directions for that one are up on the top of the blog underneath the free patterns tab. All right, and this one, here's the Science Fair one, which, oh, that's going to be such a cute baby quilt. It's called Science Fair, and it uses, I believe, the Hexenmoor ruler by Julie Herman of Jaybird Quilts. Wonderful. Okay. Jane Peck says, Quilt-Cam. I'm working on binding my scrappy Irish chain. You helped me on color placement when we did Jamestown Landing in Bedford last June. Thanks for all you do. See you in Bedford this August. And that's Jane in Pennsylvania. So yes, she's got that binding going on. Oh, the quilting looks really pretty too. How about you? Do you love doing bindings? Do you hate doing bindings? I absolutely love the hand stitching part of getting to do a binding. That's just ultimate relaxation for me and a good excuse for chick flick movies and tuning out to the TV. Love it, Jane. I'll see you soon. Pat, Pat, where'd my friend go? Pat, I saw you. Where's your email? There she is. Just watching you for a short time as it's 5 p.m. in Alaska and I need to start dinner soon. Here's a copy of a catalog cover to show you that hexies are everywhere. Hope your jet lag is gone. So Pat's a friend who was with me in Italy, and then 5 days later, after getting home from Italy, I'm seeing her again in Alaska. It was just so cool. Oh, cool. So this is Products for Progressive since 1979 Northern Sun catalog. And here's a, looks like a honeybee made out of hexagons there, or honeycomb as they would call it. Looks great. There's an idea. There's an idea for a quilt there. Wonderful. Okay, so we have a phone number here. Mary Fraser says, this is a 16 patch quilt from a swap my best friend Tammy and I did on our trip to Quilt Week in Paducah. We each did 28 blocks, 2 of each one, and swapped them to make our quilts. Thanks for doing Quilt-Cam tonight. And that's Mary Fraser, who shares a photo. So, you know, last time we were doing Quilt-Cam, my connection was so slow that I couldn't get photos to open up. Today they're doing wonderful, but isn't that great? So each 16 patch block is made out of 4 patches, or you could strip piece it, I suppose, however you wanted to, but just 2 fabrics for each 16 patch block. And I like how she's got just colors upon colors together. So not all of them are color and a neutral. You have, some of the blocks have 2 colors, like a purple and a yellow, or a red and a blue, or a brown and a green. I'm looking through here when I see a pink and a purple. So it isn't just a white and a dark. She's got colors going on in there too, and that makes it so interesting to look at. Beautiful job. I love those traditional, time-honored, recognizable patterns where you go, oh, that's a 16 patch, or oh, that's a 9 patch, or oh, that's an Ohio Star. Those are the traditional patterns really speak to me. Cousin Jill, hi Cousin Jill. She says, I'm working on my hexies tonight. Should be cutting out my sister's choice, maybe tomorrow. You told me earlier in an email that you were procrastinating. You know better. Go cut out that quilt. I'm really excited. She says, can't wait to show you my hexie progress in person. Erie is so excited for our trunk show in class. See you on Friday. So Jill's out on the LA9, the lanai. That's so funny. Oh, there was something funny I was going to tell you, Jill. There was a email from somebody, or was it a letter from somebody, where their name was like, I think it was supposed to be like Lene or something like that, but I read it as LA9. It was too funny. You would have laughed. You would have laughed. Okay. Slim Fat Quarter, it says here. Jane from Grand Rapids. Have just 3 more blocks to finish. This is my take on the quilt you made for your nephew, which is still coming, hopefully as a digital pattern soon. The 9 patches are from a bundle of 3-inch strips that I was gifted. It will be twin size that I can use on my bed at Quilt Retreat in October, and she's done it in autumn color, so it's beautiful. Thanks for all you share and inspire. So let's see if I can turn this way. Will that go? Nope, nope. Has to go this way. So there's her blocks going right there, just like that. Beautiful. You know, 9 patches are so, so, so classic. I just love them. Okay. One more, and then I'm going to sew. I want to finish this row. This is from Fiona, who says she just got back in time for live Quilt-Cam in Australia. So hi, Fiona. She says, I'm working on scrappy pineapple blocks today, trying to use up a few of my 1.5-inch strips. This will be a quilt for a niece and her first apartment. How great. And she's in Chile, Queensland. Oh, I like that photo. That's really fun. So she is doing some really scrappy pineapple blocks there with Quilt-Cam in the background. I just love it. You know, if you ever stop to think, just during Quilt-Cam time alone, with those who email in or message in or whatever, the amount of fabric that is going through machines right now, the electric bill is going up right now because we're at our machines. But just think about all the productivity and the positive experience we get from making something beautiful. I think that, you know, women especially, I know men are too, but we've always had this desire to fix up and to beautify and to make things that taste good and to decorate our houses so that they're pleasing to be in. There's just something about needful about making things, and I've tried to think it out as to why that is. And we're just makers. We just have to do it. We want to make things nicer. We want, you know, we want things a little bit better. We want things a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more pretty, a little bit more homey, a little bit more fun. Okay, we're getting down there now. How many more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more lozenges in this row. My eyes are just weeping like crazy. Maybe that's a good thing. So for those who didn't read this morning's blog post, I had an interesting doctor's appointment today. I had a scan that was much easier than I thought it was going to be. They didn't have to shoot any dye into my eyes or anything. Now that everything that they can do so much with digital. But the problems I've been experiencing have a name. And it sounds really scary. Cystoid macular edema. But when you break it down into what each word means is that I've got cysts in the macula and my macula are swollen. So it really didn't let me know anything that I didn't already know. It just now has a fancy name. But it was nice to have it have a fancy name and be able to look it up and say, hey, yeah, those are exactly the symptoms I've been having now for quite a while. And I thought it was just that my eyes were tired, or that I spent too much time at the computer, or too much time staring at a backlit screen, and my eyes were just tired. So the treatment now is I've got steroid drops 4 times a day. And I'll be seeing a retinal specialist on the 23rd. And this was really funny because the eye doctor goes today, she says, I'm making you an appointment with Dr. So-and-so. Okay, that's great. Be prepared, she says. You will be the youngest one there. Oh, okay, that'll be fun, she says. And pack your lunch because you'll be sitting there for quite a while. Okay, and I'm thinking lunch, heck, I'm going to take my Hexies. I got a brand new Hexie bag today. I'll show you on the blog tomorrow. This is what I get for having time at Sam's Club while they finish up filling my prescription. I found a cosmetics bag. That is awesome. It was awesome. And it was only 20 bucks and it was 4 bags in one. So I'll show that on the blog. But the funny thing was she's telling me as if time in a waiting room is a bad thing. And I'm thinking, ooh, that's hand stitching time. That's good. That's good. That's a perfect excuse. If I don't bring Hexies, I'll bring that quilt binding to work on. Okay, so we are here. Grabbing the Leader Ender square. Oh, I have 2 done. I can sew these together. So one thing I have found with doing these little blocks as my leaders and my enders, because these 3 pieces, this 1, 2, 3, and this rectangle is a section, and the seam presses towards this rectangle. For the 4 patches to nest with this, I have had to press my seams toward the light. You see how this, if this seam is going up, this one needs to go down. So if you're working on this one and you're doing it in sections the way that I am, I have to think here, oh, I got to press them to the light first. Press the seams to the light. I know we tend to tell ourselves, oh, it has to go to the dark. It has to go to the dark. It might shadow through. Yes, but not always. So on this block, I'm pressing towards the light. It just gives me a better result and a flatter look when it's done, and that's what I want. I want a flatter look. Okay, so where are we now? That's one seam down. One more to go. One more to go. Isn't that going to be fun? So there's just this one seam right here. We'll fold that over and start pinning it. I'm a little bit twisted here in more ways than one. Okay. Sadie, do you want to come out from under there now yet? Do you want to come out? Come on, go on. Go on. Go out. Okay. Poor dog. All right, so before we start pinning, the pinning is the thing that takes the longest. I've got at least 15 minutes of pinning ahead of me. Pin magnet, my favorite thing ever. Okay. So we have with us tonight, too cute. Okay, so-and-so. This is Ramona, who says, this is a baby quilt that I have been working on. The pinwheels are leaders and enders. This is for my new granddaughter that is to arrive at the end of the month. Not quilted yet, but if I know you, Ramona, it will be soon. How cute. So she's got an elephant in the center and the pinwheels all around. Isn't that just precious? Great job, Ramona. So Ramona went and quilted her, I think it was her Grand Illusion on, she rented time on a long arm and was having fun with that. So the question is, Ramona, will you be taking this quilt back to do on the long arm, or are you going to do this one on your domestic? I'm looking here, looks like it might be basted already. So she'll get that done in no hurry. She's a speedy girl. This one says, oh goodness, I have an area code 503 with no message, but she's piecing, looks like giant quarter square triangles on her Juki. There, if I turn it this way, will it work? Yay, there, we got it better. Super. But there was no name attached. So who are you? Looks like there's a glass of wine there in the front. This is good too. Awesome. We like that. Natalie says, Sister's Choice is completed. Here's my Sister's Choice I got back from the long armor last week. What a fun project, and it used up so many scraps. Thanks for all you do. And that's what we will be doing in Erie this weekend. And from what I understand, if you're anywhere near Erie, Pennsylvania, there are still openings. So click to my calendar of events tab at the top of the blog and find the entry for this coming weekend. And you can click the for the information, and the person to email is right there. I have no idea how many openings are still there, but you too could be making this quilt. It's all from, whoops, all from 2.5-inch strips. Easy, easy, easy. Come join us. That's beautiful. I love it. So you had just the right sunlight on that too, Natalie. That's really nice. Okay, Irene says, Quilt-Cam, I'm sitting here ironing the 140 times 3 pieces from Celtic Solstice that I had to unsew so I can get them together with the proper seam allowance. Isn't that just dreadfully painful when you have to unsew 140 units, and they had 2 seams per unit? She says, now that I know how to get a constant perfect seam allowance to get the perfect unit size, it makes putting tops together not only easy, but so much more pleasurable because I'm not fighting the units to get them to match. Teresa and Lillian should be arriving here anytime now, so it will be the 3 of us stitching away while watching Quilt-Cam. 3 generations. So we have grandmother, mother, and daughter. Isn't that going to be great? How wonderful. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. And she's got a picture here. Oh, I love that picture. I have to show it, I guess, the long ways this way. There's all of her pieces and Quilt-Cam on the tablet right there. Wonderful. I thought of you today, Irene. I was watching some Gilmore Girls. It gets funnier and funnier and funnier. So taking my time on that one. It's just like the best cheesecake ever, and you just want little slivers so that the whole thing lasts longer. Mary Ellen says, new cottage treadle. Here's my new machine. I put a new belt on her using the vinyl tubing you suggested. Question. Do you have a method of inserting the tiny metal connectors? It took 2 of us 30 minutes to accomplish. No, You just have to work at it. And I kind of twist and wiggle and twist and wiggle. If you can get one end in, then it's easier to get the second end on. But these are the little tubing connectors that are listed on my blog on the Vintage Machines tab. They're tough, but they need to be tough because you don't want that belt coming undone as you're sewing with it, but yet when you want it to come undone, you can still get it done. It's better than the old staple way that went with the leather belts. So they're just a little bit tough, but hopefully you won't have to. This is an absolutely gorgeous cabinet. So she's got this beautiful parlor cabinet for the new treadle machine. Oh, guess who's looking for treadle machines? My friend Mona. She wants a treadle machine. Guess who's going to teach Mona to treadle? The girl who said she would never be caught doing that sewing thing is going to learn to treadle. I'm so excited. This is a beautiful machine. I'm going to enlarge that. Look at those decals. Wow. That is absolutely stunning. Trying to get it so that the light doesn't reflect there. Can you see well? Isn't she beautiful? Wow. So looks like this is one of those that the belt is on. The belt goes on the outside of the hand wheel. So my guess is that it's a Davis. New Cottage is just the brand, but it looks exactly like my Davis. Nice. So a lot of machines back in the day, at first they were made only by the manufacturers that named them and had their name on them. But some smart entrepreneurs realized that if they made X number of machines, then the different shops or whatever could put their own brand on them and they'd sell more machines. And so you find a lot of machines past, about 1880 or so, 1890, where machines started to be branded with just odd names. So it might be the exact same machine model as this one, but it's going to have a different name on it because, you know, Sam XYZ said, I'll take 500 of these and put my store's name on them. So that's what happened there. So that's why we find a lot of stuff that we can't find answers on. We can't find serial numbers on. We can't find anything about them because they're badged machines. Oh, so Carolyn says, I am enjoying your video. I almost missed you. And that's Carolyn near Barrie, Ontario. Wonderful. Glad you could join us, Carolyn. Okay. And this is that one, oh goodness sakes, and I can't get it any bigger. Okay, so Jerry in Oregon says, she says, a year ago a friend of mine passed away and left her pre-washed fabric and pattern on her sewing table as a UFO for her soon-to-be-born granddaughter. Tonight I am sewing that together for that baby's first birthday. Bittersweet. And that was the hourglass units that were on the sewing table with the glass of wine. So we're celebrating your friend and how wonderful that you're able to finish that for her. Okay. That explains it. It was a very, very small text message. Quilts in the house, says Laura Valdez. These are the stacks in my sewing room. I think there's about 60 quilts in my house. Have made well over 100, but donate to charity and give away a lot. Yes, and I have those clear plastic bins too. Just love them. I was working with some of them today, sorting things out. There's probably more than that in my house. I bet you there's over 100 quilts in my house, maybe 150. Somebody posted on Facebook, well, what do you do with all your quilts? I don't know. What does a coin collector do with all their coins? We hang on to them for a while until it's time to pass them on to someone else or sell them to someone else or whatever, but I don't do quilts themselves. I don't make the quilts to make money off the quilts, but I save them if they're a class workshop sample. I save them if they're just a favorite. I don't make no bones or buts about it. There's a lot of quilts in this house not being used. But then look at the shoes that are in people's closet. How many pairs of shoes do you really need? How many purses do you really need? And it's not about need. It's about want and appreciate and use when you can. She's got another stack here. Ooh, those are fun, Laura. She's got some really fun stuff going on there, which brings to mind a great question. How many quilts are hanging around in your house. Have you ever counted? Do you want to know? Do you feel guilty? Nah, there is no guilt in quilt. Because these will all be passed on to somebody at some time. My feeling is, you know, my boys tease about, we're going to put these on eBay. Fine, put them on eBay, because they'll go to somebody who really wants them. But really, if somebody wants to buy them off of eBay, I don't care. Just don't sell them too cheap. Oh, holy cow. I'm looking at these quilts trying to see, do I recognize any of these patterns in these stacks, Laura? I'm not so sure. Those look great. But you know what? If there were a disaster in your town, I know that, and they said, we need blankets, we need bedding, it's a disaster, they'd go. I know they'd go. I've already done that once. When Hurricane Katrina hit, I donated over a dozen quilts at the drop of a hat, boxed them up, sent them off. I have no idea where they went, who got them, what happened to them. There was a need, and I send them off. And if something like that happened again here, yeah, I'd give them, I'd send them off. Maybe some. Some I might keep. Lori Evans says, Quilt-Cam UFO. Lori, is it Abens? I don't know how to pronounce that. Hello from Ontario, Canada. So there's a lot of Ontario, Canada watching us tonight. Thank you for Quilt-Cam. I'm working on getting the borders on my Grand Illusion tonight. Your Grand Illusions Mystery was my first Bonnie quilt and my first with so many pieces. It has been a ton of fun. I just finished getting the inner top of Lazy Sunday together today. I reversed one of the pieces in the Sunday star block to make it look like a sun. I am calling mine Lazy Sunday Sunsets. We'll credit you on the label. Thank you for all the patterns you share with us. I honestly don't know how you manage to get everything you do done. I have cleaning angels that come twice a month to clean my house. That's what somebody told me to call them, cleaning angels. These are beautiful. Oh, I love what you're doing with your colors. So here's her Grand Illusion coming together right there. She's got some orange border fabric, looks like, at the tail end there. That's going to be lovely. The other photo, oh, it's her lazy sun. It does look like a sun. I really like it. I really like that. So, you know, patchwork is just different shapes coming together, and they're all different common units that we use again and again and again. So feel free to play with your blocks. Maybe your corners need to be outies instead of innies. That looks wonderful. I love it. Can't wait to see what you do with it. Okay. Yes, I am avoiding pinning. I'm going to answer one more, then I'm going to start pinning this thing. Oh, Irene, did you just get this one? Is this brand new? I don't know if I biggie size this. Can you guys read what it says? Yeah, it says on there, right, plain front and center, climax. It's, you know, it's what happens when you see this machine, and and we ooh and we ah. It's wonderful. I love it. The decals on that are just gorgeous. How fun. Have you sewn on it? I see something underneath the presser foot. So that leaf tensioner can be kind of scary. And what I worry about with machines is, am I going to be able to find needles that work? So when Mona was sending me pictures earlier last week, she had found one at not too bad of a price. It had the leaf tensioner on it, just like that. At the top, so it doesn't have the tension discs that the thread goes through with a tightening screw. It has a little thing on the top, and you'll see those on several different brands of antique machines. The leaf tensioner can be kind of tricky, but doable. But what really worries me about a machine that I don't know, I had a one new home machine that took some really odd sized needles, and they were not cheap to find, and they were not easy to find. So if I'm going to buy a machine that I want to sew on, it better have bobbins or shuttles available, or needles of a normal size. So I'm sitting here pinning while we talk, and I showed this the last one too, but in case we've got just somebody new joining in here. Okay, so I have put a pin through, I can undo this. Okay, pin through one point. So the pin is coming out right at that point there, and I'm going to put it pin right at the next point, and I am aligning those pins or those points with this pin. Okay, if I hold that straight through, those points are matched. Then I take a second pin and I pin just above, in and out, where this pin was holding those points together. If I just go in and out through those points, it's going to shift them and one will be off. So it's a 2-point pinning process for me. Got some wild threads there. So pin point to point, and it takes a little bit of time, but a good pinning job will keep you from having to unsew later. So once they're together, then I can pin right above the pin and pull the first one. And this is the boring part. So I'm praying for really good weather up in Jamestown and Erie this weekend. I've been told that Jamestown, New York is the home of Lucille Ball. And there are memorials and things to be seen. So I'm looking forward to that. I love the quirky different things about places that I get to visit. Stuff that you might not have known before, like in this lighthouse, George Washington slept here. That's kind of a fun thing. Or this is the home of the biggest blueberry pie. You know, things like that. So yeah, I would like to go see where Lucille Ball's stomping grounds were. I think that would be fun. I've never been there. I've never been to the Chautauqua, New York area. And I've heard a lot about it, and I know that it's beautiful, and this is a great time of year to be there. So we've got this planned, and Erie is always fun. Erie is just beautiful there. So yeah, the snow is finally gone, right? It is. Somebody told me just this weekend that there were still piles of snow melting in Boston. The mountains that were really piled high, they may be really low now, but there's still snow. I got a Facebook message just yesterday from the bed and breakfast that we stayed at in Delta Junction, and they were having snow yesterday. Now, when I was in Fairbanks and Delta Junction, the temperatures were warm. In fact, it reached almost 90 when I was in Fairbanks. Yet yesterday they were having snow. No, thank you. They can have snow, they can have 40 below temperatures, they can have all of that, and the mosquitoes never die. Are we getting there yet? Still got a long way to go. Pinning. Okay, one more and then I'll check an email. I can hear the phone buzzing. Okay. Sadie must have gone upstairs. I think she realizes that the worst is over. I haven't heard any thunder or rain for a while. Okay. I love that machine, Irene. That's really cool. So Connie Hendricks says, I also posted on your blog, here is the UFO in front called Reflections of by Linda Ballard. Oh, I know Linda, from a retreat in Weaverville, California in late 1990s. Yes, Linda's been doing this a long time. That's an old UFO. My leader in Ender is scrappy half-square triangles in 1.5, 2, 2.5, and some larger following your scrap system. I love going to retreats and dumpster dive for people's scraps. Hey, fabric is fabric. Connie Hendricks in the real Northern California, Wairika. Oh, those are cool. I love that star block. So she's got that half dark, half light star. So you can set those in any log cabin layout and it'll work. I love blocks like that. Wonderful. Yes, and again, clear plastic drawers. We love those. Beautiful. Okay, then we've got here, Tina Mills says, hi from New Zealand. So New Zealand is with us, I'd say tonight, but say that this morning or this afternoon for you. It says, Mom and I have been, eyes are kind of squirrely, and I are Having lunch. Gosh, having lunch bag while we watch you. Mom's been here handling stitching her paper piece diamonds together, and I've been getting a quilt ready to long arm. I have a question. Where is your circle pendant on your necklace from? Oh yes, this one. I don't know if you can see it. If I get a little bit closer, it's Murano glass from Italy. So yes, I did get that in Italy when we were in the Cinque Terre. So I love it. I love it. I haven't taken it off yet. Somebody asked me, oh, is that one of those pendants that has the thread cutter? No, it's just Murano glass. But it has a kind of a quilty pattern to it. So I like it. Thank you for noticing. Let's see, that one there, and here's one from the guest book. Let's see, it says you'll find the message here. So yes, you can also leave a message in the guest book if you don't have a blog ID. She says, I'm working on the piano keyboarder for Dancing 9 patch in a twin size. It's hard to not be matchy-matchy with these. I guess all that money spent on color classes did pay off. Finally put them in a brown bag and pulling them that no matter what they have to be sewn together unless they are identical. That's the best way to break it. Stop looking at color and just look at value and variety. That's all. Imagine you've got the whole box of 72 crayons and you've dumped that box out on the table and you're just going to put crayon next to crayon, and you can't use that crayon more than once, and you can't pick certain crayons to go next to certain ones. You know, just sew it. It's going to be okay. It's going to be great. Just sew it. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And that one's from Christy. Okay. Things are buzzing over here all the time, and I can't get this to go back and back and back. Beth Beard says, Quilt-Cam. Yes, it's true. The snow farms in the Boston area still have snow that has not melted. Below is what I am working on, my daughter's t-shirt quilt. Not scrappy, but I promised her I would get it done soon. You know, if that's, oh wow, I like that backing on it. Purple, yummy. So here's some t-shirt quilt that she's working on for her daughter. I'd say if you're taking a multitude of different t-shirts and you're putting them together, that's scrappy enough. Wouldn't you agree? She's gonna love it. She's gonna love it. Great job. All right, and I saw here from Jen Hinwood, who says, good luck with the eye drops. Eye problems are scary and no fun at all. Yeah, and this is my big fear, is I'm going to wake up and my eyes are going to be glued shut from this junk I've put in my eyes. We'll see how it goes. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. We're on the right track. I should be working on the 4.5-inch black and white crumbs tonight. The new Quiltmaker magazine came last week, though, and I've resisted jumping in for 5 whole days. You can see on my sewing table some pieces for Debbie Caffrey's mystery. I'm using up Deep Stash in pink and yellow. Our Stitch and Giggle is working on UFOs. We each made a numbered list of 6 projects, and we roll the dice to see which one we're working on next. When we get done with this, we'll make another one. Feels so good. You know, that's a fun way to roll the dice and see, okay, this month we're going to work on this one. Ooh, that's coming together really great. So that's her black and white crumb quilt with lime green set on there. So she's making the crumb blocks and then they're sashed with a lime green. I think adding that pop of color is really fun. Super. Okay, and I saw one more from Jo. Jo, I'm getting to you. I'm getting to you. She says, Australia is sewing up a storm today. I'm working on a crazy quilt block. I'm doing an online course and need to move along. So it's a nice, relaxing day in our freezing weather, keeping us happy with Quilt-Cam, and that's Jo. So I've got here, oh, that is just absolutely beautiful. She's doing some crazy patchwork with lots of gorgeous stitches on there. If I can turn this just right, hopefully there's not so much glare that you can see what she's doing on. That is just absolutely beautiful. So it's your homework and it has a deadline. Better keep it stitching. That's beautiful. The scrappy neutral background really adds a lot here. So all of your stitches show up really nicely. In fact, I think I have some of those fabrics. Okay, pin more, pin more. Got to get this pin more. So where were we? Here, with a long way to go. Watched a crazy movie the other night, and right now I can't even remember the name of it, but it had Tommy Lee Jones. It had Meryl Streep just for a small cameo appearance towards the end of the movie. And it was about a woman who is taking three crazy women who had lost their minds over the hardships in the Oklahoma Territory in the 1800s, back east, back to their families because they couldn't handle life out on the prairie. And that life on the prairie was really, really tough. And I hats off to any woman who would want to live in a mud soddy, really, really. But what a crazy movie. It did not go the way I thought it would. It left me saying, huh? And I guess life is like that sometimes. But that movie has disturbed me for days. I can't remember the name of that movie. The Homesman. That's what it was. The Homesman, I think. That's what it was called. So look it up. Very interesting. It was on Netflix. My foot's falling asleep. Got to cross the other leg. Okay, just pinning to pinning. This is the last seam, right? This is the last seam. This is the seam that goes down in history. This is the seam that just says, oh, get it done already. I can't handle it anymore. Watch me run out of bobbin halfway through this. And I don't think I wound an extra one. Remember last time I ran out and I just grabbed a something, anything. Okay. Guess who's back? I hear somebody. Hey, Sadie, what are you doing? I guess she decided it was more interesting to be down here by Mom. Okay. That pin's too big. I don't like those big yellow-headed ones unless I'm pinning something into the long arm. Okay, Cousin Jill, if you're still out there watching out on the LA9, what's the weather supposed to be this weekend in Erie? I haven't even thought of packing yet. Do I pack long gear, capris, cooler weather, warmer weather? There was last night we had to run to Greensboro for an errand and ended up grabbing dinner out. And I tell you what, I know exactly when summer starts. I know exactly when it's summer because you go into a restaurant and they've got the air conditioner blowing so high that you are freezing and you need a sweater, a jacket, a something. So, you know, I call summer sweater weather because the sweater has to live in the car for when you go into any establishment because the air conditioner is going to freeze you out. Which reminds me, my leftovers are still in the fridge unless Jeff got to them. Just a few more. Just indulge me. Just a few more. We'll take some more questions. I guess I could talk about the book a little bit more because that's coming together. One top needs a border, and the other top is the blocks are half done. Finish those two tops, get them quilted, and then all of the quilts for the next book are done. They're not due for photography till November, so I am really making good progress on this. But I need them in August for when I do my taping with Quiltmaker Magazine. So I have cut out block parts. I spent Saturday kitting up the block parts that I need. So those are all in Ziploc baggies ready for this trip this coming week. So if I have time to sew on the road, we'll get those done. And then Turn those in November. Manuscript due in December. And you have to plan on, after you turn in your manuscript, about 9 months to a year before that book is released. So it is a long process, but it's going to actually give me the time that I need to get it all done. So, all right, this is the last pin, the last pin, the last pin. Okay, so this will be ready to sew. Let's check back in. Thank you for hanging out. I know that the pinning part is really boring. So this is from Sharon, who says, "Hi Bonnie, I'm working on binding a frozen Olaf quilt for my grandson Ryder's 3rd birthday. I'm so happy to be able to join you this evening." And this is from Sharon in New Jersey. And she's got her little wonder clips on there, and she is binding Olaf from Frozen. Those grandkids, they deserve a quilt, and they can have as many quilts as they want, and we will make them because they're the grandkids, right? That is adorable. Super cute. Okay, and this one from Brandy Pettit, who says, "Raced home from work tonight to join everyone for quilting. So glad to be making progress on my UFOs with you all tonight. Here's what I'm working on. Baby blanket that just needed a label. Finished the quilting earlier today." And the quilting is just absolutely gorgeous. See if I can, her photos are embedded, so I think I can just show you one at a time. I'll biggie size it a little bit. So this is the baby quilt that she's getting the binding on. She finished that quilting just earlier today. You see all those lovely swirls and curls in there? Gorgeous texture. Beautiful job. And we'll be piecing these fish for a wall hanging as I listen. And this is Brandy in Walla Walla. So here's for the fish. And they really do look like fish if you kind of get them on point. Really cute little fish. Okay, beautiful. This is from Joanne, who says, "Quilt-Cam! Hi from Arizona. I recently finished 3 quilts, Grand Illusion, Orange Crush, and Carolina Crossroads. I posted pics of them on Open Studio last night, so won't post them again, but will show you what is on my design wall. As I watch Quilt-Cam tonight, I am working on a baby quilt using Lisa Alexander's Granny Squares pattern. Love it because it uses 1.5" strips instead of 2.5" strips. Glad your next book is back on track. Looking forward to adding it to my book collection. Thanks for all the inspiration." And she's got a picture of her design wall here. Oh my goodness, I spy some Orca Bay. I spy some Smith Mountain Morning, and those lovely little granny squares. Aren't they just so sweet in the pastels? Great use of scraps. Yeah, that's a pattern that started out, I think it's Many Trips Around the World is what it's traditionally called. Wonderful. And here's her, her studio area. So we can see that she's sewing with what looks like a 404. Great job. So if I turn this way, you can see she's got looks like a 404 machine from what I can tell there. And she's got Quilt-Cam going, and that's her little sewing nook. Beautiful window to look out, lots of natural daylight, and staying inside because Arizona is hot, 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 hot. You know, I have family that live in Arizona, and people say all the time to them, "Well, how do you handle the summer? How do you handle the summer?" It's just a reverse winter, only they don't have to shovel it. So the weather there is gorgeous in January, but June, July, August, it gets pretty hot, but you just stay in when you can, and that's when you sew like a crazy person. So it's just a reverse winter with no shoveling, just a high air conditioning bill. Tiffany Hayes says, "Quilt-Cam, watching you for the first time, enjoying you. I'm hand stitching on a row by row for my local quilt store, Bolts in the Bathtub." What a name for a store. How cute. So she's got here, gosh, I can't, some of these, I guess it's the orientation that the photo was taken. But she's got a little rubber ducky applique splashing on that little tub there. It's almost like you can feel that water coming out of that tub. Super cute. Love it. Love the rubber ducky. Great job. Donna says, Let's see, where did she go? Quilt-Cam. So happy to be sewing with you tonight. I'm working on your Carolina chain pattern. Loving this quilt. Oh yeah. So here's her Carolina chain blocks. And the pattern for Carolina chain was in my Addicted to Scraps column with Quiltmaker magazine. A couple of years back, you find the block pattern. And she's got them set on point here. Just lovely. Really great. All righty. Shall we sew this? I really want to sew this. This is the last seam. We're sticking with Quilt-Cam until this is done, this seam. Then y'all can cheer me on and celebrate with me, because you know that this quilt has been in progress as a leader ender thing for about a year now. I don't remember exactly when we started it, but it's been about a year. Okay. That little leader ender square. Yeah, remember these ones? Press your first two seams to the light. Then this one, you may have to flip it the other way depending on how you turn it in the block, but it'll nest. So these ones I don't spin. Just press the first two seams to the light and then just decide which way this one needs to go to nest with whatever it's going next to, because there's funky things going on here with the way these are pressed also to the light. Okay. Stop talking, get sewing, get this done. I've decided this quilt is not going to have a border. I spend a lot of time doing pieced borders. This one, this quilt, I don't remember the directions, the dimensions exactly, but it's big enough without a border. It's big enough. When I was talking to Mona over the weekend, she said, so what size of quilts do you find yourself making most? And I think we've discussed that here before on Quilt-Cam, but I don't have a lot of use for lap quilts or wall hangings. You know, I do like a table runner, occasionally a table topper, but quilts need to cover people for me. So it's got to be people size. And in my house with boys that are over 6 feet tall, that means twin. Twin is a couch size. And then if it's just a quilt that doesn't have a specific purpose, if it's not being made for a bed, full. I like a full size. So that's about 70 by 90 or 80 by 90. And then queen or king. I've got the fabric, so I just keep sewing it. If there's more fabric, just make it bigger. I'm eager to get this row done. Getting there. I'm excited. I'll have a lot of pressing to do once I've finished this seam. But the pressing, I think, can wait for tomorrow. Normally when I sew, I would sew a row and press and sew a row and press and sew a row and press, but my ironing board's on the other side of the room and it's just not convenient for Quilt-Cam, so I have not pressed these rows that go across yet. So far the bobbin seems to be holding out. getting down there. I'm powering straight through. We're not stopping to talk right there. We want this seam done. Except, okay, we got a stopping spot. I've got a little seam that has undone itself more than 1/4 of an inch, so I've got to fix that. Sometimes that's the problem with chain piecing, is that we don't take the time to backstitch, and I don't like to backstitch, and sometimes with all the manhandling, seams just pop back open. But it's a quick fix to restitch it. Better than a hole opening up in the quilt top, right? Okay. Just that much left. That's it. Just that much. This machine really does a beautiful job. She's been used hard. She's missing some, she's got some chipped paint up here, some scratches. Somebody sewed on her quite a bit. Okay, 4 more to go over. I'm running out of room. It's a good thing this quilt isn't any bigger because I'm right up against the wall. One more pin to match. And I'm pulling that pin. And the crowd goes wild. Woo! That is such a good feeling. Looking for something leader endery that I can put together here. Okay. So cheer with me. The lozenge top is now complete. Oh, almost. Well, I think there's close to 400 or over 400, like 409 or something lozenges in here. So it's a big one. It's a big one, and it won't need binding. I am just thrilled. Just thrilled. So that's going to need a whole lot of pressing time and pulling of random threads, but I am so happy. It's done. It's done. We did it. Awesome. So let's check in here. You know, and it's a momentous thing. So June is a special month. It's the anniversary of when I first started blogging, and this June, I think it was like June 5th maybe, so it's within this week. I've been blogging for 10 years as of now. So we've got all that information, and when I look back and it finishes like this, they make me feel just as good today as they always have. I love this. I just love this. I love sharing it with you. Vicky says, I'm working on nails while watching Quilt-Cam. Thanks for all you do. Since you are finishing up last year's Leaders and Enders, have you told us what you will use as Leaders and Enders for the upcoming year? Well, while I've been working on this one to finish, because this was a Leader Ender, as soon as it wasn't units anymore that I could use as Leaders and Enders, I started making these. These are Idaho Square Dance blocks from my current column with Quilt Maker magazine. So this was in the May-June issue. It's still available. I didn't want to make it the official Leader Ender project because there are people who can't get the magazine, and I can't give out dimensions and directions the way that I could with the lozenges because it's under copyright right now. But if you have the magazine, or if you have really, really awesome drafting skills, you could make this block as leaders and enders, and that's what I'm working on now. We need to come up with an official one that I can give full directions for, because this is like, hey, this is in the magazine, let's just make this. But there are people who won't be able to get the magazine, or can't, or won't, or whatever. We won't go into the stuff there. So I've been using my box leader ender squares, a few rectangles, center square. So I've been working on these while setting these rows together, and I've gotten several done already. So I'm thinking this may just end up being like a 16 block table topper for the cabin. And we'll put that together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm getting there already with this one. It won't be very, very large. But as far as the official, let's make this one, and I'm going to give you the full instructions for it, doesn't usually happen until around July. So if we get through this, I have time in July off, we'll come up with something that is very, very simple that we can just mindlessly piece all year long in between the lines of other things. What the thing that was hard for me with the lozenges is I made this a real leader ender project. But when I posted this one as a leader ender project, there were folks who wanted to do it immediately and made it within 2 weeks. They had the whole thing done, quilted, bound. And that kind of took the wind out of my sails. So when I present a leader ender project, try not to rush ahead with me. Let's really do this. If you're going to make this in 2 weeks, then something else has to be the leader ender. Maybe you're working on the one from last year that we didn't finish yet. Whatever it is, the whole premise is to have something that we sew in between the lines of other things to gauge our progress. Okay. All righty. So let me take just a couple more, and then I need to get off of here. We have Sewing Space from Jill Owens in Montana, who says, how much space do you have to the left of your machine? It looks like quite a large area. I'm watching Quilt-Cam tonight after working on quilted baskets today. There is a large area back here because I've actually got 3 machine cabinets, kind of, you know, 2 back to back here that are, one's a treadle, one's an electric, and then I've got this electric here. So they kind of make an L shape. And I've also got a board from one to the other so that I have a level surface for the laptop. Over to my right over here, that's the machine I do all of my binding and stuff on. I like to piece over there, but it's really not a good location for Quilt-Cam. We tried it there before, and it's not enough space, not for this. So I tend to do Quilt-Cam right here. I'm lucky to have a large basement sewing room, and that's the reason why we bought this house. I didn't care about the kitchen. It was all about the sewing room. So this is from Mary Saunders, who says, congratulations. How fun to celebrate with your completion. You keep me sewing. Terrific. Jane Bitt says, Quilt-Cam tonight, and hooray for a finished quilt top. I almost never get to join you on live Quilt-Cam. Here is what I'm working on tonight. And she's got her blocks for Smith Mountain Morning. Hey, that matches my shirt tonight. That's pretty cool. Awesome. I was with Jane in Spokane, and those are coming along great. And this one is from Patricia, who says, bullseye with the light background. You should have my cell number in case something comes up. Okay, wonderful. She lives not too far from me, and if I get down her area, I was going to give her a call. Wonderful. And one more. Let's just do one more. Lindsay Varner says, blue quilt. My daughter Lindsay and I are enjoying Quilt-Cam while I'm working on this blue quilt for my neighbor. We love your quilts. And this is from Lene. Oh, it's a hearts and gizzards. Oh, how fun. So she's got blue and white, hearts and gizzards. Doing the quilting there looks like lots of micro stippling in the white areas. Just beautiful. I've always admired this pattern. Never had the heart, pun intended. Never had the heart to do hearts and gizzards. Wonderful. Well, everybody, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for sticking around with my boring pinning job and helping me get this done. I'm excited. Now I get to find a backing and get it loaded in the machine, but that'll wait for another day. Who knows? Maybe Thursday. Maybe Thursday we can do this. What do you think? I'll be doing Quilt-Cam let's see, I will be back from, when do I come back from this trip? I don't have very many days between getting back from Erie and leaving for California. So we may be a couple of weeks before we're able to do this, but then I have most of July off after the Vermont Quilt Festival. I have most of the month of July off, and I'm excited for that as well, because we'll be able to fit in more Quilt-Cam time. Don't forget about blog post Friday morning. There'll be a really fun giveaway. You won't want to miss it. And of course, you won't want to miss up on the updates from when I'm back on the road on Friday for the trip to Jamestown, New York, and to Erie, Pennsylvania. I'll post as often as I can. If you follow along on Facebook, you won't miss anything. If you watch on Instagram, you can find me there too. We keep posting stuff all day long, just keep you in the loop. If it's still early where you are, keep sewing. 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes, half hour, push that project, and I'll catch you next time from the basement at Quiltville. Can you tell I'm tired? I'm Bonnie Hunter and saying good night. Bye, everybody.